Interest in Marcus Rashford ramps up. Borussia Dortmund and Juventus join Milan. The Times is reporting Casemiro has told United he would leave for the right offer. Arne Slot claims the transfer speculation surrounding Virgil van Dijk, Mo Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold is being used as ammunition against the players. And Ange Postecoglou says that Spurs are working hard to strengthen the squad as soon as possible. Hi, good evening. Welcome along to Sky Sports News. We'll also reflect on what could be one of the biggest transfers of all time. Elon Musk's father confirms the world's richest man wants to buy Liverpool. And you won't miss a thing before tonight's Carabao Cup semi-final first leg between Arsenal and Newcastle. Have the best build-up from the Emirates. But we have to start with this jaw-dropping story. Elon Musk's father has confirmed that the world's richest man wants to buy Liverpool. In an interview with Times Radio, Elon Musk revealed that his family have close ties to Liverpool and claims that they knew the Beatles. Liverpool are worth £5.3 billion, according to the latest recent rankings by Forbes. Musk's wealth is estimated at £350 billion.
Does your son want to buy Liverpool Football Club?
I can't comment on that. They'll raise the price. I can't comment on that.
Yes or no?
But,
come on, does he?
No,
Has he expressed a desire?
Let's get back to Nigel.
Come on, Errol, come on. I am a Liverpool fan. It means a lot to me. Has he expressed a desire to buy Liverpool Football Club?
Oh, yes. But that doesn't mean he's buying it, you know. So,
but it is in his sights. It is in his sights.
He would like to, yes. Obviously, you know, anybody would want to, you know. So would I.
But not everyone's got enough cash, have they, for that?
No.
Why Liverpool Football Club?
Well, his grandmother was born in Liverpool, and we have relatives in Liverpool, and we were fortunate enough to know quite a few of the Beatles because they grew up with us, my family and stuff, and so we're attached to Liverpool.
Our chief reporter Kaveh Solokol is here. Is Liverpool for sale?
Liverpool's not for sale. The last time that the owners of Liverpool spoke on the record about the club potentially being for sale, they were very clear the club is not for sale. We know 2.5 years ago they were looking for outside investment. Nothing materialised. Liverpool are owned by the Fenway Sports Group. They've got other sports club as well. I think in the past 20-25 years they've never sold anything. So, no, the simple answer to your question is Liverpool Football Club are not for sale.
If he were to buy Liverpool, or want to buy Liverpool, is there anything that could stop him?
Well, first of all, the owners of Liverpool Football Club would have to agree to sell to Elon Musk. Now, of course, everything has a price. The owners bought Liverpool for around £300 million. It is now valued at £5 billion. So if they were to sell it, they would make a massive profit. Elon Musk could easily afford £5 billion or even more than that. He's so rich that he wouldn't need to buy Liverpool with his own money. He could go to any bank and borrow the money and buy Liverpool, who are one of the most successful clubs in the world. From a business point of view, it would be a no-brainer. But he would also need to pass the Premier League owners and directors test. If we had a football regulator by the time this hypothetical bid was made, the football regulator may want to get involved as well. And finally, what would Liverpool fans have to say about this? We know Liverpool Football Club is a club that is rooted in the community. It has very strong values when it comes to issues like social justice, equality and diversity. For what it's worth, in my own personal opinion, I would think that the vast majority of Liverpool fans would be against the idea of somebody like Elon Musk owning their club, even though he's the richest man in the world.
Difficult to tell, though, because we haven't asked them yet, have we? Explain why it would be so controversial.
Well, Elon Musk is a very controversial figure. He's a very divisive figure. For instance, he bought Twitter, which he renamed X. He has been changing X. He's been accused of using it to amplify far-right opinions. He has used it, for instance, to, some people say, influence the election in the US, which ended up with President Trump being re-elected. He's going to have a role in President Trump's administration. He is somebody who, at the moment, is backing a far-right party in Germany. There's an election coming up in Germany. He's somebody who is embroiled in a very, very personal campaign against the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and the United Kingdom. So he is somebody who's a hugely controversial figure. And I go back to the fact that Liverpool Football Club are a club who are rooted in their community, and I cannot see their fans standing for this. Finally, let's not forget that Elon Musk, a couple of years ago, I think he got involved in an exchange on Twitter, as it was called then. He was asked about whether he would be interested in buying Manchester United. I think as a joke, he said that he wanted to buy Manchester United. And he came back when he was asked about it and he said, this is a long-running joke on Twitter. I'm not buying any sports teams. Although if it were any team, it would be Man United. They were my favourite team as a kid. So there you have it. He is a Manchester United fan as well.
Well, that's nailed it for Liverpool fans, isn't it? Kaveh Solokol with an incredible story. Thank you. You know we're going to be talking about it on Back Pages tonight. That's 10:30. Ian Ladyman and Henry Winter will be with us for that. And of course, that will dominate Elon Musk and the possibility of him buying Liverpool Football Club. Absolutely astonishing. All right, I need to introduce our senior reporters again, Tim Thornton and Rob Dorset. Good to see you. Right, how do we follow that? We follow that with Marcus Rashford. Tim, more interest for him today. Tell us.
Yeah, Borussia Dortmund, the latest team to show an interest in Marcus Rashford, the Manchester United forward. We understand that he's an option for them in this transfer window. Juventus are also interested in him. We told you yesterday that AC Milan had an interest and they are having internal discussions about whether or not to pursue that interest. In this instance, it will be a loan move, which probably wouldn't suit Manchester United. Yes, it would reduce some of his wages, but Manchester United would prefer a permanent move because they are in a position where they have to sell to buy. But there is this symmetry with Jadon Sancho this time last year. That was a win-win for all parties because he went to Dortmund, did really, really well, upped his value, and Manchester United then went on to sell him. But this is a slightly different situation because Sancho was already a player that had been at Dortmund, and when it comes to Marcus Rashford, you just feel that his next move is absolutely crucial. He's 27 now, and I know we're going to touch on it in a moment or two, but when you look at his international situation as well, with England, with the World Cup, 18 months away, he does need to make sure that his next move is the right move for him, as much as Manchester United need to make sure that they get the right offer for him and potentially move him on.
Rob, explain why Aston Villa are in amongst all of this.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. Mike, how many times over the years have you and I talked about the domino effect in transfer windows, and that if one transfer happens, it can lead to others? I think there's a bit of that going on here, because we know that Aston Villa are in negotiations for Daniel Marlon, the Borussia Dortmund forward. So, of course, if Borussia Dortmund can get Marcus Rashford in, another forward, a very high-ranking, very highly thought of forward, they may be more inclined to allow Marlon to leave for Aston Villa. But my understanding is that the two clubs are some way apart in terms of evaluation on Marlon at the moment. Talks are continuing. There's by no means broken down, but it may go later in the window, this one. Villa's most recent offer was around £15 million, about 18 million euros. It sounds as though Dortmund have upped the asking price a little bit. Often happens when a Premier League club comes in for you, especially one with Villa's wealth and the success they've been enjoying recently. It looks like Dortmund are looking for something closer to £25 million, 30 million euros. So there's a big gap between the two. But I think Villa will be looking a little bit at Rashford and saying, well, let's just see what happens there, because there may be a glut of quality forward players that Dortmund have, and that might make our negotiation a little bit easier in the days and weeks to come.
Well, Tim, you touched on this. You both cover England, have covered England for us. What does Rashford have to do to impress Thomas Tuchel?
He has to play, first and foremost. I think he has to play with a smile on his face. He has to show the form that he's shown at times at Manchester United, but not often enough and not recently enough. And I think he has to show that he wants to be on the plane for the next World Cup, because potentially he could be a big asset for England. Me and Rob were both in Qatar for the World Cup there, and actually in that World Cup
he did
really, really well for England. But since then, he slipped off the radar a little bit. And I think he needs to be playing his football and giving Thomas Tuchel an option to say, I'm your man, I want to be involved in the World Cup finals. And I think key to that is regular first-team football, but also maybe finding that joy again in his football.
Yeah. I think Tim's absolutely right. There's two things for me here. There's one, Marcus Rashford enjoying his football again, which he clearly isn't doing at the moment at Manchester United. And Tim's absolutely right. He's got to get his career back on track. These are supposedly the best years of his career. And he's playing probably the worst football that he's played in the last decade, possibly in all the career we've known him since he burst onto the scene with Manchester United. So he's got to get his smile back and get enjoying his football again. And it increasingly looks like that isn't going to happen at Old Trafford. But secondly, you have to look at what's in this for Manchester United. And I don't think any of these loan offers from Juventus, from AC Milan, from Dortmund, are options for Manchester United. I don't think they appeal, because I would suspect that all of those clubs are saying, yeah, we'll take him on loan, but we want you to pay a big chunk of his wages. Well, what's in it for Manchester United? They need to clear some funds for a rebuild under Ruben Amorim. They're not going to do that by losing a bit of Marcus Rashford's wages, a portion of his wages. I think it's almost a non-starter. I really do. I can't see Manchester United wanting to go for it, and I think Amorim will nip it in the bud pretty quickly. I think the message from Old Trafford to all of these clubs are, yeah, absolutely, we'll listen to offers for Marcus Rashford. If you want to take him on loan, there has to be an obligation to buy him in the summer, or something a bit more concrete than just, yeah, we'll take him on loan, you pay half his wages. I just don't think that's a goer.
Absolutely. All right, now we'll get more from Manchester United. That's coming up. We'll hear also from a coy Arne Slot, but a bullish Ange Postecoglou. And we'll have the latest on Manchester City. What are they up to? See you in a moment.
Welcome back to the Transfer Show. It's time now for your bite-sized roundup from around the Premier League of all the transfer activity. Tim, take it away.
Thank you, Rob. Arsenal are in League Cup action against Newcastle tonight and are prepared to be active this window if an opportunity presents itself.
Aston Villa. Well, Donyell Marlon is believed to have given his blessing to a potential move to Villa. Talks continue between the Midlands club and Borussia Dortmund over a deal for the forward, but the fee remains an issue.
Bournemouth have announced the signing of 19-year-old left-back Julio Soler from Argentinian club Lanús. He is Argentina's under-20 captain, so good pedigree.
And we're getting ahead of ourselves with the graphics. We'll be with Brighton in just a moment, but let's talk Brentford. Quiet window expected there, but a defensive midfielder could be added to the squad. They're among the clubs who like Middlesbrough's Hayden Hackney.
Brighton remain interested in signing 18-year-old centre-back Vitor Reis from Palmeiras after being knocked back with their latest approach.
Let's move on to Chelsea, shall we? They've yet to make a bid for Crystal Palace and England centre-back Mark Guéhi. They're looking for a replacement for Wesley Fofana, who could miss the rest of the season with a serious hamstring injury.
Crystal Palace are preparing an improved bid for the Liverpool winger Ben Doak, who's also wanted by Ipswich Town.
Let's talk about Everton. We've heard a lot from Sean Dyche today. He admits it's right that his future at Everton is in doubt after it emerged the club's new owners are considering their options.
Fulham maintain midfielder Andreas Pereira is not for sale after rejecting an £80 million bid from Palmeiras.
Ipswich Town retain an interest in Liverpool's Ben Doak, and they've already had one bid turned down. Talks continue, though, at Portman Road about that bid potentially being upped.
Ruud van Nistelrooy would like to strengthen his Leicester City squad in this window, but financial concerns will restrict spending.
The league leaders, Liverpool, their manager Arne Slot says he's very happy with his current squad, but the club is ready to move in the market if the right opportunity presents itself.
Manchester City are interested in the Eintracht Frankfurt forward Omar Mamouche. City are understood to be realistic about the difficulties of doing business in this January transfer window. However, if the right deal presents itself, they're ready to make additions in this window.
In terms of Manchester United, Borussia Dortmund and Juventus are the latest clubs understood to be discussing whether to formally approach them over a deal for Marcus Rashford. And according to The Times, Casemiro has also told United he's willing to leave the club this month.
It could be a tough window for Newcastle. Eddie Howe would need players to leave before he's able to strengthen.
As for Nottingham Forest, they're edging closer to agreeing a contract extension with Murillo. The defender's current deal already runs until 2028, but it's an improved contract that's being discussed.
And Southampton striker Ben Brereton Diaz is closing in on a loan move to Sheffield United, but there's still work to be done to get the deal completed.
The new Tottenham keeper, Antonin Kinski, he could start tomorrow against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup semi-final. Ange Postecoglou told us the club worked hard to get him this January. He also said other targets for this month are still being worked on.
And Juventus have an interest in West Ham's Nicolas Füllkrug. They are also looking for a striker to pair with Dusan Vlahovic. Füllkrug has had a difficult start to life at West Ham after joining from Borussia Dortmund in the summer.
Loving these names, aren't you? Emmanuel Agdadou is set to begin a medical in France ahead of finalising his move to Wolves. And that's the end of the wrap, I think, Mike. Consummate, that, wasn't it?
Nailed that, fellas. Thank you.
Got a couple of amateurs trying to do that. Sorry, Mike. We'll improve for next time.
Tarmer Chef is stomping around his lounge.
He's on the
Right,
phone. I can feel my phone ringing now.
Let's get to the very latest from the Emirates then, where Arsenal play Newcastle in the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final. Here's Mikel Arteta.
Mikel, some good news on players available, but I wanted to ask you specifically about Kai Havertz. How much of a boost is it to have him back, considering not only goals, but how much damage he can do with his overall game up front?
Yeah, it's obviously great news. We have missed a few players in the last few weeks, so great to have him back. Big occasion, big game for us, so looking forward to it.
Eddie Howe was talking about how happy he is not only with Isaac's goals, but how much the team's been creating for him. So how can you defend this? What is important in defending the way they attack?
Yeah, obviously the strength and the situation they can create is a team that has threat from various ways attacking when the ball is very close, in short combinations, in long counters, set pieces. Like every team in the Premier League, very difficult.
You had some tough games against Newcastle. You struggled a bit against them at St. James Park this season. What have you learned from those experiences, recent experiences that you can use tonight?
Well, it was a very competitive match. I don't think that we deserve to lose that game at all. But yeah, we want to win it. We want to be better than the opponent. So another opportunity today.
Thank you, Mikel. Good luck.
Goals as they go in on Sky Sports News this evening from that game. Right, let's get back to transfers then. West Ham and Everton obviously have manager issues. Does that mean, Rob, they have to put transfer plans on hold?
Traditionally, yes. And I certainly think that a lot of the people who are involved in those discussions about the future of Julian Lopetegui and Sean Dyche will be otherwise engaged right now. But look, they're going to sort it out in the next couple of days, I think. Certainly West Ham, I'd expect Graham Potter to be appointed in the next couple of days. And so then they'll be talking to Graham Potter about which new signings he would like. And I think you have to realise that the structure of football clubs has changed considerably in the last 5 years. Virtually every club in the Premier League now has a sporting director and or a technical director as well. Whilst one of those is dealing with the managerial situation alongside probably the chief executive, it may well be the sporting director who's in charge of footballing policy. We're seeing a tendency for more head coaches to come in rather than managers. How much do managers get involved in transfer business and recruitment these days? So no, look, I understand that West Ham and Everton are still looking at what's happening in the market. West Ham are still pretty active, in truth, even though they spent more than £100 million on players in the summer and they're running quite close to PSR. Nevertheless, they're looking at what's out there. They're interested in Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, taking him on loan from Chelsea potentially. All of that while the issues with Julian Lopetegui are going on in the background. So, no, I don't think it puts their transfer business on hold by any means. It may delay it a little bit, certainly for the next few days.
With respect to West Ham, should all of this be played out in public like it has been?
No, but we're part of the problem, aren't we? Because we want it to be played out in public. Yeah. If you're a West Ham fan, I think at the moment you want your sporting director to be concentrating on recruitment, bringing players in. Instead, he's got the distraction of the managerial situation. If they get a new coach in, a new head coach, then they've got to be aligned in terms of what they want in this transfer window. So it just complicates the whole situation and muddies the waters in terms of getting the right players in. And it's not ideal in January when it's difficult to do business anyway, and especially at West Ham where there was a lot of recruitment in the summer and some of those players have been hits, but most of them at this stage have been misses. So it's important that if they do business in this window, they get it right.
And Mike, just briefly on that point, my understanding is that whilst Graham Potter and his representatives have been talking to both West Ham and Everton in recent times, we've reported on Sky Sports News throughout the last couple of days, he has spoken to both clubs and people high up there. Part of the discussion has been, OK, well, what transfer budget is there? What money have we got to spend on players? Because we know that if Graham Potter was to go to Everton, his style of football would be very, very different to Sean Dyche's that's there at the moment. And so he'd want a very different squad. If he didn't think he could change those players in the next season and a bit, that might put him off. Maybe that's why he's going for West Ham instead. Not sure, but it's all part of it, Mike.
Yeah, interesting. All right, we'll come back to that, no doubt, throughout the window. Now, PSG willing to let Kolo Muani leave this summer. Plenty of Premier League interest. We'll have the very latest next, right here on The Transfer Show. See you in a moment.